World War One, also known as the Great War, started in 1914 after the assassination of Duke Franz Ferdinand of Australia. His murder catapulted a great war across Europe that lasted until 1918. During the 4 years conflict, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and Ottoman Empire are the central powers fought against the Great Britain, France, Russia, Italy, Romania, Canada, Japan, and the United States, known as the Allied Forces. By the time the war was over and the Allied powers had won, more than 16 million people, soldiers and civilians alike, were dead.
Tensions had been brewing throughout Europe, especially in the troubled Balkans region of Southeast Europe for 5 years before World War I actually broke out. A number of alliances involving European powers, the Ottoman Empire, Russia, and other parties has existed for years, but political instability in the Balkans, particularly Bosnia, Serbia, and Herzegovina, threatened to destroy the agreement. The spark that ignited World War I was stunk in Sarajevo, Bosnia, where Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, was shot to death along his wife Sofia. Serbian nationalist Gavrilo Princip on June 28, 1914. Princip and other nationalists were struggling to end Austro-Hungarian rule over Bosnia and Herzegovina. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand set off a rapidly escalating chain of events. Now, Austro-Hungary, like many other countries around the world, blamed the Serbian government for the attack and murder of their heir to the throne, and hoped to use the incident as a justification to settle the question of Serbian nationalism and for all.
Austria-Hungary wanted to declare war on Serbia, but they knew Russia supported Serbia and feared that Russian intervention will involve Russian ally, France, and possibly Great Britain as well. So Austro-Hungary waited to declare war until its leaders received assurance from German leader Kaiser Wilhelm II that Germany will support their cause. On July 5th, Kaiser Wilhelm secretly pledged his support, giving Austro-Hungary a so-called carte blanche or black check, assurance of Germans backing in the cause of war. The dual monarchy of Austro-Hungary then sent an ultimatum to Serbia with such harsh terms as to make it almost impossible to accept.
Clearly, that Austria-Hungary was ready for war, the Serbian government ordered the Serbian army to mobilize and appeal to the Russia for assistance. On July 28, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and the peace between Europe's great powers quickly destroyed and collapsed. Within a week, Russia, Belgium, France, Great Britain, and Serbia had lined up against Austria-Hungary, and Germany, and World War I had begun.
According to an aggressive military strategy known as the Slavian Plan, Germany began fighting World War I in two fronts, invading France through neutral Belgium in the west and confronting Russia in the east. On August 4, 1914, German troops crossed the border into Belgium. In the first battle of the World War I, the Germans assaulted the heavily fortified city of Liege, using the most powerful weapons in their arsenal. Anonymous Sarge commanded to capture the city by August 15. The Germans left dead bodies and destructions in their wake as they advanced through Belgium towards the France, shooting civilians and executing Belgian priests they had accused of inciting violence. On the eastern front of World War I, Russian forces invaded the Germans' held region of the East Prussia and Poland, but were stopped short by the German and Austrian forces at the Battle of Tannenbach in the late August 1914. Despite that victory, Russia forces Germany to move two corps from the western front to the eastern, contributing to the German loss in the Battle of March. Combined with the fierce Allied resistance in France, the ability of Russian huge war machine to mobilize relatively quickly in the eastern assured a longer, more grueling conflict instead of the quick victory Germans hoped to win under the Schleswig Plan. At the outbreak of fighting in 1914, the United States remained on the sideline of World War I, adopting to the policy of neutrality favored by President Wilson while continuing to engage commerce and shipping with European countries on the both sides of the conflict. Neutrality, however, it was increasingly difficult to maintain in the face of Germans' unchecked marine aggression against neutral ships, including those carrying passengers. In 1915, Germany declared the waters surrounding the British Isles to be a war zone. The German U-boat sank several commercial and passenger vehicles, including some US ships. Widespread protests erupted over the sinking by the U-boats to ships carrying American passengers on board. In May 1915, helped turn the tide of American public opinion against Germany. In February 1917, Congress passed a $250 million arms appropriation bill intended to make the United States ready for war. Germany sunk 4 more US American ships the following month. On April 2nd, President Wilson appeared before the Congress and called for the declaration of war against Germany. Now, the million-dollar question is, how were blacks involved in the First World War? By the time the World War I began, there were 4 all-black regiments in the US military: the 24th and the 25th Infantry, and the 19th and the 10th Cavalry. All 4 black regiments comprises of celebrated soldiers who fought in the Spanish-American War and American Indian War and served in the American territories, but they were not deployed for overseas combat in World War I. Blacks serving alongside white soldiers on the front line in Europe was inconceivable to US military. The African American troop sent overseas served in segregated labor battalion, restricting to menial roles in the army and navy, and settled to the marine entirely. Their duties mostly include uploading ships, transporting material from train depots, bases and ports, digging trenches and cooking, maintenance and removing barbed wire and incorporating materials, and burying soldiers, facing criticism from the black community and civil rights organizations for its scars and treatment of black soldiers in the war effort. The military formed 2 black combat units in 1917, the 92nd and the 93rd Division, trained separately and adequately in the United States. The division fared differently in the war. The 92nd Forces faced criticism for their performance in the March-Agen campaign in September 1918. The 93rd Division, however, had more success. With dwindling armies, France asked America for reinforcement, and General John Pershing, commander of the American Expeditionary Forces, sent regiment in the 93rd Division to over. Since France had experience fighting alongside black soldiers from their Senegalese French colonial army, the 93rd Division, 369 Regiment, nicknamed the Harlem Fighters, fought so gallantly with total of 191 days on the front line, longer than any other AEF regiment, that France awarded Croix de Gore for their heroism. More than 350,000 black soldiers will serve in World War I in various capacities.